What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. Do you think that the Suns will make a midseason trade of any kind?
Obviously, people know how little they have to give up. That's baked in here. However, a few things tell me that they absolutely will try to make a trade. One being they did these weird NFL-style deals in the offseason to get themselves some ammunition, some seconds, which is, we'll see how far that can get you. Last deadline, that got you like Jay Crowder. Rui Hachimura, okay, maybe you feel better about, hitting a gold mine there, but they wouldn't have done that if they didn't think that they could get something. The other part of this is Matt Ishbia hasn't gone. I feel like right now we're in the middle of the longest stretch Matt Ishbia has gone without doing something dramatic. You haven't seen his name in a headline right now in longer than any time since he bought the team, and it's only been 10 months since he bought the team. So if there's any hole to be filled, if there is any deal to be had, I think that he will make it. It's just part of their problem with trades right now. One, obviously being, the stars are untouchable. Those are a portion of their big salary players. Most everybody else is on minimums. The only three guys who aren't on minimums are the three players who just came back in the DeAndre Ayton trade, Little, Allen, and Nurkic, who are all playing a pretty significant role. And if you're getting rid of them, you're probably creating another question mark for yourself too. So it's going to be stacking minimums and second round picks and hoping you can land a 7th, 8th, 9th man. Maybe I could see how that could happen, but is that guy going to win you a championship? I'm not too sure.
Is it the big forward that you think they'd be targeting in that specific type of trade?
Yeah, big forward. I think, maybe as a buyout player, they pursue another center. They have Udoka Azubuike on a two-way. I don't think he's somebody who's he hasn't even played even when they've kind of needed that. So it's not going to be him. I know, NBA fans want it to be Bol Bol. It's not going to be Bol Bol. So yeah, probably some more size at whatever spot they can get it.
Who is the clubhouse leader for the fifth starter / closer? Because if we accept that their core five for a traditional center lineup is going to be core four, I should say, is Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Yusuf Nurkic. Who's going to be the fifth guy, you think, when everyone's healthy?
As much as Grayson Allen has made a case for himself, you talk about how well Kevin Durant's shooting from three. Grayson Allen has also lit it up. He's also one of the more confident guys. So when we talk about the extra help that teams are sending at the star players, Allen has been, you saw it in that third quarter run against the Lakers. He's been the guy who's I got this, but I just don't think he's big enough. I think his defense may have been helped a little bit by playing next to Giannis Antetokounmpo and Brook Lopez. Maybe that reputation preceded him a little bit. So I don't think it'll be him. My answer is plan A is probably going to be Eric Gordon, and you saw it against the Lakers. They can at least get away with Gordon starting games against somebody like LeBron James. Is that going to be, 2 of 12 shooting night because Eric Gordon just locks him up? No, but he's big enough. You mentioned his switchability, and he executes. He's a veteran. He's trustworthy, all that stuff. I think that that's going to be the guy that they start out. Keeping that it's going to just be a more traditional lineup, I think the other answer would just be whichever of Little and Keita Bates-Diop makes threes better. Which one of them in a series, in a game, is, number one, confident taking open shots, which so far it's been Little who actually will take those. Bates-Diop is very hesitant, tries to drive, ends up turning the ball over, throwing up a floater, and it has not been pretty. And obviously which one makes the most of those three. So I guess right now it would be Gordon 1, Little 2, Bates-Diop 3, but I actually don't feel any closer to answering that question than I did at the beginning of the season. If you had asked me on October 15th, I would have said that exact same thing. So I don't think that's a great sign.
Well, again, it's so hard to really make that call until you see what Bradley Beal can help you with. Because we talked earlier about Kevin Durant and all of the things that he can do as a Swiss Army knife to help when the team is healthy. Bradley Beal's one of the best athletes at the two guard position that we have in the league. We've talked all offseason about how he could kind of apply some more rim pressure for a team that needs rim pressure offensively. He's one of those guys too, where he's never, in recent years, he hasn't devoted resources in this manner, but he can be a deeply impactful point of attack defender. He's got that type of athletic tool, he's got those tools. So I do think until you see the team in this version, it's hard to make that call. However, here's the data. We have 145 minutes of KD, Devin Booker, Yusuf Nurkic, and Grayson Allen, and the plus 14 net. That's solid. Okogie's another guy that's been thrown into this list. 68 minutes of Durant, Booker, Nurkic, and Okogie, minus 0.3 net. Started the season hot shooting and has immediately tanked from there. I have enjoyed Josh Okogie just in general, just as a wrecking ball athlete, though, crashing the offensive glass.
He's an incredible offensive. He's a regular season player, right? He's a regular season player. And I think it's like the things that gets lost with Okogie, because I'm sure a lot of fans who tune into the Suns are going to sit there and be like, this dude makes plays constantly. He's a great defender. Why would it not be him? He creates turnovers. He does a lot of the things that they need, rebounding, everything else. It's not just that the shot isn't there, and he's also a guy who's hesitant to shoot. He's not a great finisher, and he doesn't have great feel when he gets the ball in his hand. So it's like, if you force him to shoot and he doesn't shoot, well, the backup plan for an offensive player beyond that, attack a closeout, keep the ball moving, try to get to the basket, none of that really is in his game either. So I think that's what you're starting to find out the longer that he plays with this team. And we saw it last year in the playoffs. He started the postseason out of the rotation, even against the Clippers. So I don't think it'll be him.
That's a great point, because like so many times when we get into these situations, like you see it a lot in trade market, like around trade season, that some team will be like, oh, we should go after this guy. He's 39% from three. And it's like, literally, that's such a basic part of playing off the ball that there's so much more that goes into it. Specifically, that ability to not be a ball stopper, to make quick decisions, to be able to read a closeout and to rip the right direction, and then to make another quick read as the defense reacts to you. Like, there are off-ball slashers that generate rim pressure. That's an important piece of it, right? Like, that's a thing that I expect Beal to do a lot in off-ball situations too, just like slashing off the catch, And to that point, like if Okogie slashes off the catch and he can't make a layup or make a read, then it doesn't really matter, like how good of an opportunity you set him up with. And so I think that's reflected, by the way, in the net rating, as they've been outscored in those minutes. The third lineup there, 116 minutes of Durant, Booker, Nurkic, and Eric Gordon, plus 16 net rating. That, to me, I lean towards Eric Gordon too. And the main reason why is he is your best combination of like physical attributes that can impact winning in the margins of the game, while also being a plus offensive player. I actually prefer Grayson Allen as an offensive player. I think he's a better read and react guy than Eric Gordon. I think Eric Gordon can get a little tunnel vision sometimes. He can co-op some possessions. He could take some shots where you're like, my goodness, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like, just in terms of defending at the point of attack, defending bigger wings, switchability, Eric Gordon, to me, just kind of fits that mold better. I think he makes the most sense. That said, like, if you were to go into a series against, we could talk about the Lakers as an example because of LeBron, but against any team that has a big scoring wing, they don't really have a good defender to throw at a wing scorer in terms of like a good combination of size and athleticism and mobility. And so that to me is like the spot that you would in theory look to upgrade, right, at some point before the deadline.
Yeah. I mean, what's funny, and we had to say his name at some point, is one of the things I was excited about in the iteration of the team we thought we were getting here in Phoenix until like 2 weeks before the season is, talk about stubbornness with Monty Williams and adaptability that you hope Frank Vogel would have. Kind of was hoping we would see DeAndre Ayton get chances on some of those guys. Not necessarily LeBron, but, to bring up another enemy of the Phoenix Suns from even longer ago, Giannis Antetokounmpo and players like that who DeAndre Ayton got chances on, but not as far as being a whole part of the game plan. But it's not going to happen. He plays for the Portland Trailblazers. So yeah, they don't have an answer there. Nasir Little is not quite as strong and big as you would necessarily think when you look at him, because he's pretty short for a 4 and just doesn't have the heft of, a LeBron James, a Giannis type of guy. But, every team has weaknesses. I think that they can kind of scheme around that and outscore their way to it. But yeah, to your point about the offense on Gordon and Allen, Allen is a perfect Durant Booker teammate, right? Like the way that they want to play up and down, like those Utah Jazz games, the doubleheader that they played where the games were just in the 120s, 130s. One of them was an in-season tournament game, was a perfect encapsulation of how Booker and Durant want to flow when they're at their best. Durant got to that with Kyrie a lot of times. You've seen it over and over. Allen fits beautifully into that on offense because he's more of a threat all over the court. He's a little bit better of a passer. Gordon is more of a one-read passer. He can throw an entry pass. He can drive and kick, but he's not a dynamic playmaker for teammates, reading the defense and manipulating and all that stuff. But to your point, I think defensively, he probably just fits the best of what they have right now.
Yeah, that's where I look like you had mentioned stacking veteran minimums. There are veteran minimums on this roster that I think other teams would be interested in. Like there are so many teams out there desperately looking for shooting, and Yuta Watanabe's kind of ended up being a little bit of the odd man out for this group. And like he's the example of a guy where like there's probably an athlete buried on a roster somewhere that a team would like to convert into more of a shooting threat, right? Like I think these kinds of moves can be made on the margins, and specifically when you have the top end talent, it makes the game so easy in a lot of ways. And to me, like that is a small, achievable role to be the three that slots between Beal and Booker, KD and Nurkic. That is an easy role compared to other threes around the league. There are way harder versions of that position to play. And so from that standpoint, like I think a lot of times we see around the NBA, you'll see a player that is in a role where they're kind of asked to overachieve and they can fail. And so I think as long as they're patient with it and they find the right type of guy, that would be something I would look into. But in the event that there's no trade, I still think Gordon's the move there.